Hello everyone, welcome back to My Life with Angel. I'm very excited to be back with you. Thank you for being there. And today I will tell you my birth story. Wow. I'm gonna point out what I think is the most important about this whole experience of giving birth to a child. Wow. Okay, so how long was my labor and delivery? Okay, so in total, it was about 17 and a half hours, 18 hours. How did it start? This was the 27th that I was telling my sister, I feel weird, I think and I feel that baby's coming. And of course, I was telling my husband all the time, I'm feeling weird, this baby's gonna come out really soon. And I wasn't wrong. Baby came out a little early. Everything started when I was here, feeling like that. So I'm gonna jump in to the day, the actual day. So it was 2 p.m. and I was lying down because I was super tired and swollen. My feet were little elephants, they were little elephants attached to my body. I was feeling bad. I was feeling off, and I told him, I think this is gonna happen today.
I was right. That's mom instinct right there.
And then I started to have contractions, but they were an hour or so apart, so it was it wasn't the real labor,
labor.
But they started to get closer and closer, and by 8 p.m. I was like, this is happening. Yes. And I started to use my contraction tracker app, and it was definitely happening. And I was my hair was all wet, and I was I'm just gonna do my hair a little bit just to feel a little bit pretty on the birth. Yes, we think about those things sometimes. It was time to go to the hospital because contractions were so hard, and they were a minute apart, so that's the indication. So basically I spent from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. at home. That was the best choice for me, to spend the first hours of labor home, comfortable and just being able to be on my own space. That was a good decision. Then we got to the hospital, and I was 30 centimeters, well, 2 centimeters dilated already, and I was oh my goodness, this is happening. And of course everything started escalating pretty quickly. Epidural. Did I have an epidural? Yes. I'm gonna tell you the story. I was convinced, and I wanted to not have an epidural. I was I want to be like my aunt and like my mom, and every woman in my family that they were brave enough to have the baby without the epidural. It's not that I'm against the epidural, of course not, but I was just trying and wanting to test myself, and I was preparing myself. I did lots of pre-birth or pre-labor courses. I went to birth classes. I did lots of things, and I kept myself informed.
This always happens, and don't have to be pregnant to actually keep on reading and keep on informing myself.
I was prepared, and I wasn't scared. I was scared of what might happen, if something went wrong, but I wasn't scared of giving birth. Indeed, I was anxious. When I was 3 centimeters already, I was in such a pain that I was how am I gonna go through this? How am I gonna survive? Actually, I thought I was gonna die.
I can't be the only mom that thought about that. Let me know if you're a mom and you have the same feeling.
I was going through the decision in my mind, should I get the epidural, shouldn't I? And then the pain, it was everything together, and at the end I decided to get it. And then I got it. It was, the process was a little weird, but I got it, and I spent 3 hours. I can't say with no pain at all, but actually feeling good. Within those 3 hours that I mentioned, the nurse came in, and she was checking, and she's
you're 7 centimeters.
And I'm and that was good. And then from all of a sudden, epidural went away, and I was I need a little more, because I'm starting to feel 10 times the pain that I was feeling before. I could feel something coming out. I'm this is gonna happen. I told my husband,
this is happening. He is coming out. No. Call the nurse.
And yes, I was 10 centimeters and the epidural was not working. Something happened that it was just like, I ran out of it. So in the end, I had my baby without the epidural effect. So it was like, you know, life just works perfectly. Everything has like its own, just because I wanted that, it doesn't mean that, you know, the epidural was a bad idea, because I really cherished those 3 hours that I had, like, you know, to enjoy, you know, my labor, to enjoy that day, to actually like be there. Because when I was in pain, I was like, I didn't even want to see myself in the mirror. So I was like super stressed. I was super in pain. And those 3 hours gave me peace and gave me, you know, the zen the zen stage to be actually there, to be present, to like, now I have like good memories of my labor and delivery, and I thank the epidural for that. So I do not regret it, but it was painful. Like, it was super painful. I was lucky enough to have my husband in the room, and he was very supportive. You know, he was always there helping me with the contractions and helping me, you know, get through that horrible pain the way, you know, he could manage. And I'm very thankful for that. Actually, like, the actual birth itself lasted like 15 minutes. Like, when I
Said he is coming out.
and she was like,
Do not
push, and I'm like, what? I do have to push, baby. And he was born at 7:23 a.m. of July 29th, 2019. And I have to say that that's the best day in my life. And that moment, and I'll put some photos for you so you can see, is so special that I close my eyes and I recall when she told me to reach out and take him, and I took my baby for the first time. I get emotional. It was like, it's the best feeling I've ever had in my whole life. Feeling him in my chest, his little, you know, breathing, his little cry, knowing that forever I've met the love of my life. You know, like, I've met someone that I loved even before seeing him, and that is just incredibly special. The only bad part that I can say is that I couldn't have my family here when I had my baby, because he came in early and they had, you know, already planned for when he was he already planned for his due date, which was August 15, and they couldn't make it earlier. I mean, just things that happen, and they met him when he was 15 days old, and that's something that, you know, it hurts a little bit. And when I think about it, it's like, it's hard because they didn't even see me pregnant, but everything happens for a reason, and in the end we're all happy, we're all healthy, and everything turned out great. So I'm just gonna finish up with some tips. It's just from my experience, of course, for those new moms that you know, are nervous for this big day. That's normal, and it's good for you to be nervous, because when something makes you nervous, it's because it's big and it's important. Like, have the hospital bag packed up. Like, I can tell you, like, maybe in another video if you're interested to know what I took to the hospital. But that comes in handy, and it's actually very important that you have it ready when you know that you might, you know, be in labor, or that you can have the baby any moment. So have that ready. That's like the first tip I can give you. It's just like grabbing your hospital bag and just go. Stay hydrated. I got like dehydrated, I think. I was like so thirsty, my lips were cracked. I'm like the type of person that always carries chapstick on her. Like, it doesn't matter where I live, what's the season, I'm always like rubbing chapstick on my lips, and that comes in handy because your lips get too dry. So keep hydrated. I couldn't eat like for a whole day, and for me that's serious. So maybe packing some snacks that are allowed, because I wasn't allowed. But and also that depends on the hospital and, you know, their rules. I think that's it, and it's just a magical day. It's a very painful experience, but totally worth it. Thank you for watching. This was my birth story. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you haven't seen my pregnancy story, I'll leave it right here so you can see it. And that's it. So see you next Friday, and thank you for being there. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe right now and click the bell so you can know when I upload a new video, and hope to see you soon. Bye.